When I was 15, I was ranked third in Australia for my age in breaststroke. I also swam at Olympic trials in that same year. I was training 10 sessions a week and was at the peak of my swimming career. Swimming was my life and all there was to it, and it had been that way for probably 9 years by that point. But after I bombed out at that year's nationals and having all my self-confidence destroyed, I decided to hang up the cap and goggles for good. And it was at that point that my mental health began to quickly deteriorate. To me, my whole self-esteem had always been centered around my ability to swim. Then suddenly, just overnight, it was gone. I lost all sense of purpose and pretty much any self-worth. I'd started swimming at such a young age, and for so long it had been all my life revolved around. It had become part of who I was, and to me, it was all I was. Hannah Matchett, the swimmer. Swimming was the only thing I'd ever thought myself good at, so without it, I felt useless. I had no shred of confidence or purpose in any other aspect of my life. I've been told I'm a perfectionist. As a swimmer, this was beneficial. It allowed me to have consistently high standards that I was always striving to meet. But outside of the pool, these unrelenting high standards began to manifest themselves in an unhealthy way. I began to hate the way I looked. I wasn't as skinny as I had been while swimming, which is natural considering I was no longer training 20 hours a week, but to me this wasn't a valid excuse. I became bulimic in an unrealistic attempt to regain my athletic physique. In my eyes, I'd gone from being this fit, successful, elite athlete to an overweight nobody. Within 4 months of quitting swimming, I'd become practically unrecognisable. Not so much in my physical appearance, but more in the way I carried myself. I had no spirit. I'd completely changed. But the reason I'm sharing this story is because I'm sure I'm not the first athlete to have experienced such a downfall. A 2014 study of 224 elite athletes from the Australian Institute of Sport found that 1 in 5 athletes showed depressive symptoms and 1 in 4 showed eating disorder symptoms. Overall, almost 50% of athletes tested showed symptoms for at least one mental health disorder. I think for myself, I was lucky to have the support of my family and a really good sports psychologist to help me overcome my struggle. But not all of us are that fortunate. More needs to be done to help care for the mental health of our elite athletes, both during their time in the spotlight and for their progression out of it. So that when the time comes for us to hang up our bathers, kick off our footy boots, or retire our uniform, we're left with a life to continue living.